Hi everyone, my name is Charlie and today I have a review of Three Things About Elsie by Joanna Cannon. This book will be released in January 2018 and I'm doing this review now so that you know that you gotta go out and buy it because this book is fantastic. This book follows the character of Florence, who has had a fall in the retirement home where she lives. So she's telling you how she ended up having this fall, but also worried that a secret from her past might be exposed because a man she has thought dead for the last 60 years has turned up to live in the retirement home as well. To me, this book captured the worries and the anxieties of getting elderly and being elderly, and it really captured the sense of how we are rather quick to disbelieve anything we are told by our elders simply because we have immediately written them off as senile or so close to death they may as well be carrying a coffin on the back. This book was told in the familiar style that we had with The Trouble with Goats and Sheep, that to me is very reminiscent of Alan Bennett and is just so brilliant at being able to capture the most subtle of human emotion. I absolutely adore The Trouble with Goats and Sheep. It is by far one of my favourite books. If I had ever wished to write any book, it would have been that one. And I know that a few people who I have recommended the book to had an issue with the ending. I didn't have that issue, but they did. Whilst I can see their point, I don't necessarily understand why, but whilst I can see their point, if they had any worries about something similar in this book, then they needn't, because this book surpasses The Trouble with Goats and Sheep, in my opinion. Whilst I think of them as two completely separate entities and they are both favourites of mine now, this book was just so great. And it talked about things that I like talking about. It had older characters, older female characters, and it went to Whitby. That was it, really. I knew it was going to go to Whitby. I knew there was Battenberg. I quite like Battenberg, but Whitby. Whitby is somewhere I didn't go to until I was 21 years old. It was my first holiday ever. So I was 21 years old, and I finally went to Whitby. And I think that that place is absolutely marvellous. And then it was put in a book, and not just any book, a book by Joanna Cannon, one of my favourite writers. And it was used so brilliantly, because, don't know whether you know this, Whitby's gothic, Whitby's dark. Whitby is that place in Heartbeat where everyone was doing all the illicit stuff, because it's just brilliant. It is one of the most fantastic places you will ever go in your life, and I think Joanna Cannon captured it brilliantly within this book, and I think she did it extremely well. And I think moving the action to Whitby heightened the tension, really, because you are moving your reader away from the setting that they know, and you're moving your characters away from the setting that they know, with this man who is supposed to be dead, who might know a thing or two about your main character here, and you're like, well, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Is there going to be a murder Taggart? That's the wrong accent, but you know what I'm talking about. I read this book extremely quickly. I had a cold at the time, but I remember it with such fondness, and I remember how much I absolutely adore these characters. It was like if Grace and Tilly, so Florence and Elsie was like if Grace and Tilly had grown up together and moved to a retirement home. And Joanna Cannon is just the perfect writer at being able to capture the humour in dark situations, but also the book definitely has a more serious undertone that is necessary to tell the story. And I would definitely recommend this book for fans of The Trouble with Goats and Sheep or Elizabeth is Missing, because I think Elizabeth is Missing touches on similar topics, and I think that reading them will just enhance, it'll just enhance your pleasure for this book. I don't give starred reviews anymore, but I think you can guess what sort of star rating I'd be giving to this book if I could. Joanna Cannon is definitely one of my favourite writers now, and I just look forward to anything else that she writes in the future. If you've read this book and would like to discuss it, please feel free to do so down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, that is all.